Alright, so now let's start working on this particular root reducer. So let's see how we are going to create root reducer by combining all the individual reducer that we have created. So the first thing is that this is very important. You have to import something from Redux. And what is this? And this is known as combine reducer. And I think there is no explanation required because as the name suggests, what this will do, this is basically will. So you can see that this is turned into an object whose values are different reducer function into a single reducer function. So that means this will reduce all the reducer that you have created into one single object. All right. So now how basically you are going to do that? So if you remember, we already created this particular reducer, that is add node reducer. So I'll just import this one. So this will be import add nodes reducer, and at the end what we have to do, we have to take here, for example, we'll take root reducer, and this will be your combined reducer. And here basically you just have to pass here all the reducer. You can see that this is a map object, so you just have to pass it like this. So this will be at node reducer, and this is it. So this is basically how you can create that. So for example, you have 100 reducer, so you just have to give as a comma separated value. So this will be your second reducer, this will be your third reducer, like this. All right, so now I think this is pretty clear, and at the end we just have to export this, and this is done. So this is all about your root reducer, how you can create that. So that's it, and let's go to our root saga, and now we will be seeing basically how you can create our root saga. Now to create a root saga, you have to know that while discussing sagas, I told you that there are some method you can use, for example put, call, take every, take latest. Now here another two method we will be learning. The first one is all and the second one is fork. So as the name suggests here, this means that what it will do, this is will fork each and every individual saga into one single saga, and it will create your root saga. So let's see. So first I'll just import something from Redux saga, and the method will be all, and the second one will be fork. All right, now what we have to do, basically again we have to import that saga that we have created. So if I just go to our saga, you can see that we have created this add nodes saga. So I'll just import add nodes saga, and how we are going to do that, you just have to take here this will be export default, and this will be a function, and don't forget to give the generator, because this star you have to give or else it will not work as a generator function. This is very very important, and this will be our root saga. That's it, this will be a method, and at the end what you have to do, this will be yield and all. This method you have to take, what it will do, this will take, as the name suggests, it will take all the sagas into one, then it will fork each and every individual saga, and it will give you one single root saga. All right, how you have to do that, so this will be a method, and here basically in comma separated value you have to pass this inside array. Now this will be fork, and then the name of the saga you have to pass, so this will be add node saga. So this is how basically you can fork multiple sagas into one. Now for example, let's say you have multiple sagas, so what you have to do, this will be again fork, and this will be your second saga. You have multiple, you have to take again fork, and this will be your third saga. All right, so this is how basically you can create your root saga. I think this is clear now. So now we have created our root saga and root reducer. Now it's time to create our store, and this is very very important. Now to create store, there are some things you should know. The first thing is that, as we already discussed, we will be using this Redux toolkit. All right, so first let's install this one. So I'll just search here for example npm, and you have to just go to this link, and I think then it will give you the all right. So this is the thing you have to copy, and here I'll just paste it. So this will be Redux toolkit. Now it will take some time to install, but before that let's understand how basically we should do. So the first thing is that obviously you have to install that, you have to import that configure store from this Redux toolkit. So this is the first step, and second thing is that you have to import that saga middleware. So for that, what we will be doing, this will be import create saga middleware from Redux saga /core. You can see that. All right, now next thing what you have to do, you have to import that root reducer. This is the first step, and the second step is that you have to import root saga. All right, so now this is 3 done, and I think the installation is also completed. So let's import that configure store also. So this will be configure store from Redux.js toolkit. All right, so these 4 are mandatory that you have to import. Now next thing is that you have to create the Saga middleware. So I already told you how you can create that. So this will be, for example, let Saga middleware, and then this will be equal to this create Saga middleware. You just have to invoke it, that's it. Now this will create your Saga middleware. You can see that Redux middleware and connect the Saga to the Redux store. All right, next thing what you have to do, we just have to create the store. Now to create store, you have to take this configure store. This will be another a particular map object, and the first thing is that very important, you have to pass this reducer property. You can see that this is the reducer property, and this reducer will be basically your root reducer that you have created. The next thing what you have to pass the middleware. All right, see that this is the middleware that you have to pass, and this is very very important. Now basically this will be a method, and this you should know. Now at the end what it will return, this will return array. All right, so for example, let's I'll give you, so here we are using the Saga as middleware. For example, you are using Redux thunk, so in that case there is a property that you can use, and based on that you can just toggle that. So I'll show you how basically you can do that. So this will be a method, and at the end this will return as array, and here I'll take on property, and this will be get default middleware. And what this will return, this will return your this get default middleware, and this will be, it will give you some of the properties that you can pass. You can see that in the options, this is very important, there is a property that thunk equal to true. What this is mean by that, for example, let's say you are using Redux thunk instead of Redux Saga, you have to pass here thunk as true. So that means it will automatically create the Redux thunk middleware. For example, we are using Saga, so we have to make this one as false. All right, and this serializable check also you can make this one as false. How we can do that? So this is very simple. You just have to take this one as, this will be object, and we just have to make the thunk as false, because we are using Saga, we are not using false. This is the first thing. And next thing, we have to pass that serializable as false. So what you have to do, this will be false, and at the end what you have to do, you have to pass that Saga middleware that we have created. So this will be comma, and this will be Saga middleware. That's it. Now what we have done basically is that, let me just format this. So this will create a middleware. We have just passed the thunk as false because we are not using thunk, and this particular property as also false, and then we are passing our Saga middleware that we have created. This is done. The last step is that you just have to run your root Saga, and to run your root Saga, what you have to do, you just have to take this middleware, and there is a property, and that is run. You can see that. And what you have to pass, I think we already discussed, you have to pass the Saga, basically the root Saga here. So we have already created the root Saga, and that's it. Now at the end you just have to export default this store, and that's it. Now this is completed. So this is basically how you have to create your store. So this is another step. At the end what you have to do, we have to go to the index.js, and here basically we have to wrap that particular provider component, if you remember, right, inside of this app. So let's import that. So this will be import provider from React Redux, and at the end we just have to take this provider, and we'll just cut it from here, and here it will take a one store property. You can see that this is the property, and this is the store that we have created currently. So we'll just import this one from global store. All right, now let's save this and let's check what we are getting. So if I just go back, all right, you can see that we are getting some particular error because that is not found in Redux Saga. And I think the reason is that, let me just go to Saga. All right, here. So I think we just have to import it from Redux Saga /fx. So there is a particular package, and now let's save this, and I think it should work now. I think the same we have to do it for that particular all also. Yes, so we have to go to root Saga, and we have to do the same from this particular effects. And now let's save this and let's see what we are getting. All right, now you can see that this is now coming and the store is now completed. Now to check that one whether this is working or not, how you can check that? So you remember we have created this action and you pass this node value. So let me just log here what we are getting in this node value. Oh sorry, I think this will be inside of this. Now what we have done, basically you'll see that here on click of that we are dispatching this value. So now if I just go back and type something, for example first note, and once I'll click enter, I'll see that now we are getting first note in the action, and the saga is also getting called. And what we are getting in the saga, we just log here getting notes saga here. Now this is working. I'll see that how basically the whole process works. Now to get this first note, we are getting this one in action. To get this one in saga, how basically we can do that? So let me just go action. You'll see that in this action, this type is basically is related to this particular type. So here also you've given the same type. That means that action and this saga are interconnected. So to get that value from this action to saga, what you have to do, you have to take this action parameter. So this will also take another parameter. Now if I just log here action, you'll see one very important thing. Let me just save this and let's go back, and I'll just do here check. And once I click enter, you'll see that now we are getting note saga here, and there is an object. And here you'll see very important point, we are getting the note value. Now see, this note value is basically coming from this note value that we have passed from this action. And there is another property that we are getting, and that is the type. And if you notice, the type is basically get notes value, and this type is basically same as what we have passed here. Now you'll notice one thing is that all the things are interconnected with each other. To pass value, I'll repeat everything once. The first thing is that you have to pass that value from your component first to your action. It will come to your action. From this action you have to pass the value to your saga. How you can pass that? Now that type should be same. Basically if you give some different type, it will not work actually, because it will not find that okay, means there is no relation between that action and that saga. So there should be some interconnection between those. Once it will check that okay, so I have to run this particular type here, so you have given the same type. Now it will run this particular saga, and whatever value you have passed here or you are receiving here, you can just take those value, because it will pass you this particular action here, and based on that action you can do certain operation. All right, so this is basically how the process works. So I think now we have almost covered all the concept. Now it's time to start working on the API part. Now in the next video, what we have to do, basically now we are getting that node value in this particular saga. So in this saga we just have to call API, and once the API will be getting successful, and based on that we have to do certain functionality here. So let's do that in the next video.